Charles Koch says that he now regrets spending his life creating cultural and political division in America. Lee Atwater, this is who I think of with this story. Lee Atwater had a brain tumor. Okay, Lee Atwater was the person who brought us the Reagan presidency, where he shows up in Philadelphia, Mississippi, and it's very clear. It's a presidency run of division. Lee Atwater learned under Karl Rove. He learned under Segretti, and he was kind of known as the dirty tricks guy. I mean, that was his label. He was the dirty tricks guy. Bring in Lee Atwater when we want to do a lot of horrible things. So Lee Atwater's on his deathbed, dying of a brain tumor. He says, you know what? I wish I hadn't done this. Now we have the Koch brothers. David, of course, is dead. One of the brothers is dead from cancer. And so we have another one who's living. I don't know how to take it. What is your take on what he's saying here?
No, this is absolutely Charles, who's 85 years old. You know, he's not long for this world at this point, just in a timetable stance. And he's trying to do the same thing. He wants his legacy, his brother's legacy, to be one of unity, he says, one of building bridges. And this, you know, he came out and says, wow, did we get it wrong? I think was his exact quote in this article. But
wow, did we get it wrong? This is the guy who brought us the Tea Party.
Right.
I mean, he financed everything about it. Alex, across the nation, Alex has absolutely decimated decency with their legislation. They were the money from Alex. I could go on organization after organization.
Right. I mean, union busting, fracking. This guy, his company is responsible for more than 300 different oil spills across the country.
One of the biggest fines, in my recollection, I saw this environment, it was above $30 million, is one of the biggest environmental fines, which was still a slap on the wrist.
Right.
But there was oil everywhere. It was in the aquifer. It was everywhere. Department of Justice, as usual, does nothing. They slap them on the wrist. That's what both of these brothers have been used to over the years. You know, I got to hold out and hope for the best here, Farron. Is it reasonable to believe that he has had a change of mind, that now Charles is saying, you know, all I have is my legacy? My brothers, you know, I wrote a book. You might remember one of the fiction books I wrote where I took the two brothers and made them into interesting characters. Yeah. And it was easy to deal with that. He wants to change that image, doesn't he? Can he do it?
He wants to change it, but he's not actually willing to do anything to change it. Because, you know, you had brought up Georgia. Well, he is still pumping a couple million dollars into the Republicans in these runoffs, while at the same time saying, gee, partisanship is so bad, I wish I hadn't done it. But you're still doing it. You can't say you don't want to do it while you're still funding this stuff.
Governor Scott Walker, maybe the most odious person in politics before Donald Trump. So Scott Walker is propped up by the Koch brothers for, we know, at least $3 million. It's much more than that. But he invented Scott Walker up in Wisconsin, didn't he?
He did, and Scott Walker kind of gave rise to this newer breed, I should say, of Republican, the one who went out there and wasn't afraid to go and say the unions are evil. You know, not just we need to get rid of, but just absolutely demonizing these organizations in a way we had not seen before. Even Reagan wasn't this overt with it. Just absolutely pushing the corporate interest without pretending that he wasn't.
Don't you get to a point, you get to a point where there's no return. I think that's what's happening here. Recently, our hometown, Farron in our hometown, was rocked by the negligence of a company called Skanska. And I think people need to understand how Skanska, a company like Skanska, affects towns all over America. Give me the story about Skanska, and let's draw some parallels between how people react to local politics, would you?
Right. Well, right here in our town with Skanska, you know, we just had Hurricane Sally came through. They're building a bridge for us. It's the only way in and out of that town at the moment, unless you want to take a 2-hour detour. They didn't secure their barges that they're using to build a bridge. The barges get loose, they smack into the bridge, they break it, it's no longer operable. The barges then get washed up into other areas, more destruction.
People's backyards.
Right. And so Skanska says, yeah, we're, sorry, but, oh well, not much we can do. And so we decided, well, who is this company? And we look into it, and we find out that not only have they been doing similar negligent projects across the United States, They have been found internationally to be paying bribes, to be paying off cartels. I mean, this is an international company.
Fraud,
yeah,
bribery, interaction with cartels so they can pull off their business. This is they're bringing $18 billion a year. It's one of the biggest construction companies on the globe. They happen to be in Sweden, but they got offices all over the United States. This is the new norm. Skanska is the new disgusting norm. And what's so bothersome about Skanska is it never should have happened here in Pensacola.
Right.
Why did it happen? How is it that they had public hearings where Skanska is standing up saying, we want to build your bridge? It's a huge bridge. It's a 3-mile bridge across a massive waterway. And so they stand up, we can do this for you. And oh, by the way, we're going to be the low bidder. And oh, by the way, when you evaluate how they came as far as their evaluation in the process of saying, is this the company or are these other two companies the company? When they go through that evaluation process, these people are on the bottom of almost everything.
Yeah.
And but why did it happen? How did it happen?
It happened because, we got to admit here, we weren't paying attention.
Right.
And not just we as a community, but we weren't either.
Me and you we weren't.
There were these meetings, the city council meetings, the town hall meetings, the things that we think of, oh, no, that's something people did in the 40s. No, they talk about this kind of things. They talk to whoever shows up and they say, this is the company we're leaning towards. Does anybody have any objections, any problems with this, anything we should look at? But because most people think that activism is only on a national scale,
right.
You've got to show up at the latest protest or
right.
You got to vote against Trump. No, it's all local. Politics starts locally.
Right.
And if we get more involved locally, it's going to have the impact that we want to have nationally.
We should have been at the meetings.
Yes.
Where they had public meetings. We are in the business of news. We could have found out about the frauds. We could have found out about the bribery. We could have found about the failures where people are killed because their building process was so awful that people were actually killed. There was a bridge that collapsed down in Orlando as soon as it was open. Yeah. 6 or 7 people died. But the point is, if nobody shows up at the hearing, you have politicians who are dysfunctional, that are going to just, they don't even take a serious look at it. That happened with Skanska here.
Yeah.
You have lawyers working for the Department of, in this situation, the Department of Transportation, that signed off on a contract that a flying monkey moron would not have signed off on. But again, we had a responsibility to do something, and we didn't do it. We could have stopped these folks. We could have stopped them in their tracks at that hearing. We have businesses that will not be in business a year from now.
Some of them have already shut down.
Yeah.
Some of them right near that bridge, since there's no longer any traffic and no need to go that way, have already closed their doors. These are businesses. One of them was the first job I ever had when I turned 15. It is gone now. Yeah. Had been in that city for 40 years.
And we can't. It's complicated, but we're doing what we can to fix it. But where we really dropped the ball, you and I should have shown up, and people should have shown up for those early hearings where they're up in front of an audience saying, "We're your folks." Thank you, Farron.